Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. This is obviously a sequel to Terminator 2. Now, Terminator 2, as I talked about in the previous video, blew me away, and me and my friends in New Jersey were really into it, and we watched it all the time. We always talked about, man, I can't wait for a Terminator 3. It'll be so awesome. I can't wait to see what would come next, with these characters and what they could, do with special effects, because we were so blown away, like what would be next. Well, we had to wait for quite a while. It was until 2003, and Terminator 2 came out in 1991, so it was a 12-year wait. And was it worth it? It depends. I'm going to defend it here some, but anyway, the movie, James Cameron lost the rights to it, so it bounced around, and then for a while, Arnold Schwarzenegger always kept asking, when are you going to do another Terminator? He would be asked that all the time. And he, was like, I don't want to do it without James Cameron's involvement. But James Cameron had moved on to other things, and he didn't have the rights anymore, so he gave Arnold his blessing. If a script comes along and, you get the terms you want, go for it. So he did. In 2003, we got Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Now, this movie, it did a lot of cool things that I really enjoyed, and in some ways, there are a few things that make it weaker than the first two movies. And the one glaring weakness of this, and it's not really a fault of the director, Jonathan Mostow. He's a good director. He did Breakdown, which I've talked about in a previous video with Kurt Russell. So he's a good director. But James Cameron, when he makes a movie, he puts his heart and soul into it. He writes, he oversees the production design, the special effects. As I talked about in yesterday's video, he has a hand in everything, so it really has a James Cameron feel. This movie, his presence is missing. Now, there are some really cool new added elements they do here. So I'm going to get into the story here, which I thought they did a pretty good job with. At the end of Terminator 2, they're like, hey, we stopped Judgment Day. We took out all the computer chips. They don't exist, so Skynet shouldn't exist. But John Connor was so scarred by this experience that he kind of lives off the grid. They show in the beginning, he does like construction jobs somewhere, and then he just drifts around. But he stays off the grid, like I said. But then some Terminators come back in time again. This plot has some rehashes of Terminator 2. So we have Arnold Schwarzenegger returns, and kudos for him to staying in shape and still looking very believable as a Terminator. He showed up. And so he goes looking for a woman named Catherine Brewster, played by Claire Danes. It's a new character and a good character. And so have that. And then the new evil Terminator is played by Kristanna Loken, and this time it's a woman Terminator, and she does some. This was a twist I really liked because she's even more advanced, can control other machines and do all those things, but she can. She's seductive too, so that's a new element to this. So I really liked that. Now they can't find John Connor, so they go for Catherine Brewster and some of his lieutenants and stuff. So she starts killing them. But then John Connor has a motorcycle accident and goes to try to find some medicine, and she runs into Catherine Brewster, who's going to be his future wife. And so they're tied together, and the Terminators show up. And, Kristanna Loken's Terminator, she finds John Connor's there, and she's like, okay, I get two birds with one stone here. So they start going after him. Both of them. And then, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger's original Terminator model, he shows up, saves the day, and they have to go on a chase. And so now the new Terminator can control other machines, so she sends a cavalry of cars after him, and it's another chase here. Now, what I did like here is, a lot of sequels, I'm like, why are they doing this? To make money. So they'll just throw some little thing in there for an excuse for it to even exist, which that's been done to death in a lot of franchises, especially lately. I'm like, why are you doing this? We'll just make up some little thing and then cash it in. But this movie, obviously it was there to make money, but it explained that because John Connor's talking to the Terminator, and he's like, "You don't remember Hasta la Vista, baby?" He's like, "No, that's a different, that's a different Terminator." He's like, "You come off an assembly line?" He's like, "Exactly." So he's gonna have to show him all the slang again, but he's like, "You shouldn't be here right now. We stopped Judgment Day. We took out Skynet and all that." And he's like, "No, you only postponed it. It is inevitable. Artificial intelligence is going to take over." So, they pushed it back a few years, but that was it. So he's like, "My job is to protect you and get you to safety. That is my mission." And he's like, "No, we can still stop this. We can still stop Judgment Day and stop all this from happening." And it turns out Catherine Brewster's father um, controls a military program, and it's Skynet. And there's this virus that is wreaking havoc on the computer systems across the country. And they're like, the military and the politicians are like, "Hey, you can kill this virus with Skynet, right? It's artificial intelligence, and you can take it out." And he's like, "Yeah, but humans won't be in the loop if we do that. Skynet will be in control." And they're like, "You control it, don't you?" He's like, "Yes, that's correct, but I'm not sure about this." But he was pressured, and he did it, and it unleashed Skynet. And that's where, the Judgment Day thing happens, and the Terminator's job was to get John and Catherine to safety and to ward off a Terminator far more advanced than him. And this movie, the plot had, what I did like is, like I said, it was a rehash of some of the stuff from Terminator 2, but then it took some twists and turns to justify its existence and then take the franchise in a new direction and touch upon things that, really start to explore some things that were just touched upon in the first two. So there were some exciting areas to go for the future of this franchise. So this movie delivers the fun and excitement and then takes some twists and turns and explains a few things. So overall, I liked it. The action set pieces are very good, very well done. There is some humor this time. Some of it lands, some of it doesn't. It depends on your taste. That's kind of subjective. I thought some of it was kind of funny, but there was, some different things. And the cast was great here. Nick Stahl did a great job as John Connor. Edward Furlong was going through some personal problems and couldn't reprise his role, so Nick Stahl filled in. I thought did an excellent job. Claire Danes is great. Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, this is a character he's very comfortable with now, so he's great. And Kristana Lonken, I really liked the job she did. And Stan Winston's designs are here too, and there's just a lot of fun to be had overall. So is it as good as the first two Cameron ones? Of course not. But I did enjoy it, and I still watch it from time to time, and I do like it a lot. And I thought it justified its existence very well, and some creative decisions were made that were good and could take the franchise in new exciting directions, and there were some things to explore here and some good themes. So overall, I really enjoy it, and I think it measures up as best it can. So anyway, what did you think of it? Let me know any of that in the comments. What did you think of some of the creative decisions? Any of that? I'd like to hear your feedback on that. And I'll see you tomorrow to talk about Terminator Salvation. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.